Hi, Master Silver, and welcome back. Well, actually, not welcome back, but welcome to another breakdown. I actually, as of recording this, it was uploaded 3 hours ago, and I forgot to change the title. Um, Now, we're not breaking down this one just yet. I actually don't know if I'm going to break this down. I might, but I haven't decided yet. Right now, we're focusing on my monologue, trapped in a monologue, or stuck in a monologue. It's kind of done either way. But suffice to say, this was uploaded earlier today because it was done earlier today. And I don't know when this is coming out. I'm recording this on March 6th, 2023. Not that it'll come out a different year, just a different day. I don't know when it'll come out because I want to give this one time to breathe first, much like I did for the, well, I don't want to promote other people's stuff too much. Much like my song log from earlier this year. But suffice to say, Trapped in a Monologue is my newest monologue that I did, and I think, actually, this is the final monologue I'll do officially within the drama class. So unless I do one just by myself at home or something like that, this is the last one you'll see from me, which is cool, in a way. But nevertheless, this one was fun to do. It was initially supposed to be done Thursday, but because most of the class wanted to push it back to give themselves more time, I ended up suffering the consequences of that as well, despite being ready for it. So it ended up starting. I ended up doing mine on Monday, this past Monday, this Monday, the Monday I'm recording this. I'm still in the clothes I actually wore in it, which is cool as well. And yeah, no, here we are. And let's just get right into it. I'll kind of explain things as I go. If you haven't watched one of these breakdowns before, I do things a little bit differently. But you know, just I think it's really cool that my my monologue thumbnail, it's a living room with the title at the front, obviously, but then it's recorded, like you can see recording on the side, so it kind of shows like the idea that the fourth wall is breaking. Anyway, let me just quickly set up the terms and conditions. No, shut up. Okay, so first off, a couple things. The person recording this is Funzilla06. So he was also the one who recorded my song log. So, you know, props to him again for helping me out. There are a couple things that he missed, so I'll kind of have to explain a little bit of that. But otherwise, there's a lot of stuff that went behind the scenes and whatnot, so that's pretty cool. Oh, that's loud. My bad. Okay, so this opening scene we can start. Oh no, I zoomed forward. My bad. Just give me a second. Yes. Okay. So allow me to use this first moment, these first 3 seconds, as a kind of a depiction of what is going on here. And unfortunately, I don't have photos to kind of showcase what's happening in the meantime. But basically, there are a couple things going on. There's a couple factors. First off, there is what I want to do. There's the way things were chosen. The way this monologue worked, in differentiation to the other ones, is that we were given specific groups of people. My group consisted of 4 people. A guy, a girl I've worked with before, and Eyeless Arts. Now, we had to find monologues for each other in the weeks leading up to the monologue, and then the person doing the monologue chose one of those several monologues to do, and so I chose this one. My other ones I was considering doing was the 2 that Eyeless Arts recommended to me, which was one about being Zeus and one about being Lucifer. The Lucifer one he actually did, which was pretty cool, because you're both kind of, you know, there. Now, the one I did was kind of a comedic performance. It meant to be 7 minutes long, but I, as you can see, went a little bit over that. It was actually longer than this because officially all the class started backstage. Like, they started on the stage and then I had them all come in. Now, unlike Bree during theater history, where she actually started recording backstage, which was a really neat feature, Zilla didn't start recording until he sat down. So that's part of what you missed. And just to give a little idea of what's being missed here, on the door there was a sign that says door, much like everything else here that's labeled. There on the stage door, that it said door on it, so there's just that. And then there were a row of chairs, The two camera people sat in the middle chairs. Every chair was labeled chair. Obviously, every member of the audience had the word audience taped onto them. The phones had the word camera taped onto them. The people holding the phones had cameraman put on them. Everyone else had an audience sticker, luckily handed out by my stage crew, Eyeless Arts. And Michaela was doing lights. And so yeah, you just have a bunch of stuff labeled here. Because I was, in an attempt to be comedic, and it was comedic, in an attempt to be comedic, I decided to take this opportunity to poke fun at someone during theater history. Now, this wasn't the guy that I was in charge of educating people on during theater history. I was in charge of educating people on Antoine and Artaud, which you can go watch if you want, but I don't recommend you do because it's one of my worst performances. Brecht was a person who was very political in his performance. He also wanted to make sure people were aware that it was just a performance, it wasn't reality. So he labeled a bunch of things, and he wasn't very elaborate with his sets. So I wanted to poke fun of that by labeling just about everything. So I have, like, this sticker right here says BTS, this one, and these are all cardboard, by the way. This says more BTS, duh. This says BTS, just the rope here, which is an idea by another stage crew member of mine, Cole, who you haven't seen yet. It says room right here, just, you know, to poke fun at that. It says wall, this one says wall. There's another wall sign over here that you can't see yet. Plants, just right there. Chair, like all the other ones, except this one's cardboard. There's a label right here that says mirror, because that's a mirror. It says countertop right here, but that's blocked by the plant. There's table, there's obscure object, which is actually like a paper file holder, but I didn't feel like labeling it. It says down here the set, which is actually, I have it right here. I ripped this off of my thing, my Please Ask Someone Else stand. So it initially went on like that, and that was pretty cool. And then in front of it, there's a little paper, much like these ones. These are cardstock. The walls, the door, and this piece of paper right here that you can't see were all cardstock that I got at Michael's, and that says floor on it. And then there's obviously the couch, bookshelf. So everything was labeled. I made sure to be thorough like that. And then obviously, you know, I'm just wearing regular attire because I want to look like a normal guy, and you'll understand why in a little bit. Initially, my hair was supposed to be slicked back, but instead I went for the side thing because my hair would always be messed up by the time I went. By the time it came time for drama, because drama was my last thing, and that was, you know, very. It was very. Oh God, it was very. It was a very hit or miss, you know. Sometimes it would look good, and other times it wouldn't look good, so I just went for the side thing to keep it looking more natural. Anyway, my stage business, because we're typically supposed to have it, my stage business was me pretending to be like pacing back and forth, rehearsing my lines as everyone came in, to like imitate, you know, getting ready to actually perform, because the way the script is written, I didn't have time to do stage business, so this was actually my stage business. Now, Gabe, he didn't actually do any, he didn't record much of the stage business. This is actually the most you get to see of me doing stage business. So it's literally just that, and then me telling Michaela through hand signals to turn off the lights, and then hopping onto the couch. So, yeah. And then we start the performance. Now, yeah, so you can see that a little bit more clearly, but you can't see anything else. Anyway, yeah, let's just watch it.
I've had all sorts of problems lately. I lost my job. My dog ran away. The taxes are always there. My car broke down. I have a pretty bad rash that I'd rather not talk about. Oh, and my bathtub randomly exploded. Exploded! Don't ask. I don't even know. I mean, seriously. I'm not going to question the universe or anything, but that kind of stuff just doesn't plain happen. And don't get me started on the crap they're putting on the daytime television nowadays. It feels like the entire world's against me.
Okay, so this was my first mistake, because the plan, actually, I forgot. You can see the label. You can't really see, it's not clear. But I have a green piece of tape on my jacket that says costume, just to poke even more fun of it. But the premise at the starting thing right here, you notice I'm looking at the ground a lot. I'm not, where I'm looking in the beginning is actually very important to my character, okay? Because my guy slowly becomes more aware, but he's not aware, you know? So you'll see as the script goes and as I do my thing, you'll understand more of it. But you know, I couldn't look at the chair and I couldn't look at the audience. And eventually I do, but I don't right now. So that, I almost screwed it up by looking at the chair. I didn't look at the chair. I managed to look up in time to make it not noticeable. I didn't look at the chair, but I got very close to doing so. So that was nearly a mess up right away. And also I forgot to mention that I skipped a line. Now, much like my song log, this one was very subtle because I didn't even catch myself doing it until I watched it back, which has, you know, been a bit of a weird reoccurring thing this year. So I'm gonna have to get better with that. But initially, I was supposed to say my entire first part was I have had all sorts of problems lately. Sorry, my phone's at 20%. I have had all sorts of problems lately. I lost my job, my dog ran away, my car, the taxis are always there, my car broke down, I have a pretty bad rash that I'd rather not talk about. Oh, and my bathtub randomly exploded. Exploded. I mean, seriously, don't ask. I don't even know. I'm not one to question the universe or anything, but that kind of stuff just doesn't plain happen. Now, here's the line that I skipped. It ruined my day, and just that short line was the only thing I missed. So it wasn't anything major. The thing could still continue without it, but I screwed that up. So that's just a little information, that I missed that line, which is unfortunate. But yeah, for the next little bit, I continue forth doing everything, normally.
Like I'm some fictional character for some twisted writer to vent their anger onto, to make them feel better about their own life.
Also, I gotta point out about the jacket. This pocket hangs out a lot. It's just the way it's designed. Maybe it's a design flaw. Maybe some of the stitches came loose, and that's why. But it's been like that for as long as I can remember. So if you're wondering why it's like that, that's just the pocket. I don't even know.
I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's all I have to react.
See that was improvised because initially what was going through my head in that moment wasn't even my lines. It was the idea like, okay, I don't want to be critiqued for, you know, standing up, walking around a little bit, and then falling back on the couch. Like, the thing is, I was more focused on the critiques of the performance more so than the performance itself. Because everything had been so delayed that at that point, that's all I could think about. You know, I had already done my performance. I already thought about how I wanted to do it. So much so that there was nothing left to think about. The only thing left to think about was how people were going to react to it. So me doing that in that moment was just me thinking, hey, I might get critiqued for this. But, you know, I've set myself up to sit back down. And it only makes sense with the rest of the script for me to sit back down. So I guess I just got to make it look as natural as possible. And that is why I looked down. That was initially part of the thing. So there's that.
You know what? I've been selfish. I keep going on about all my problems. And I never listen to a word you say. How's life? Hey, wait a second.
So yeah, that's going to be a reoccurring thing that you're going to... In class, they call it the consistent inconsistencies. But it's going to be a reoccurring thing that you see me do. Is just rubbing my eyes to get a better picture. Obviously, this character needs glasses. That's not something in the script. That's just something I put in for my character. Obviously, this guy needs glasses. He just hasn't gotten them yet. He's a little stubborn that way. But he has glasses. He just doesn't use them all the time. So, yeah, no. But that's something you're going to see happen a few times. And here you finally get the first look at the very first thing I thought about when I started making fun of Brecht. The very first thing that I made out of cardboard, the very first thing that I thought up to do was the glasses. I thought they were very comedic. I thought they worked very well. And I still have them. I'm not going to take them down. But these are literally the glasses. It's literally just cardboard that I measured and cut out to fit well with the glasses. I can still see through like the cracks at the top and whatnot, but generally I can't see much through them, and I was blind doing it anyway. But it's hot glued in the center and then just taped on the sides to make sure the flaps don't come out. But yeah, no, it says glasses, obviously intended to have ass at the top just by itself for extra comedic effect. But this is my favorite prop piece, and I love it so much. And you know, it's just I was very fortunate that instead of having to use one of the pairs I already had, we went to go see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and then I just saved the 3D glasses from that and I used them, which was, you know, cool. So that's that set piece. The first set piece I made was the glasses, which was really cool. Anyway.
What the hell? I'm not talking to anyone! I've been talking to myself the whole time.
I actually did crack my neck there.
Am I crazy? No, I think about it. I don't even remember getting here.
I didn't initially plan to say that line as leisurely as I did, but I felt like it worked better.
I don't remember saying anything before. I've had so much problems later.
I also messed up that line because that line was supposed to be, I don't remember anything before saying, I've had all sorts of problems lately. But I messed it up and switched the words around a little bit, so I ended up saying, I don't remember saying anything before I've had all sorts of problems. So it changes the context of it, but it's still, I don't know. It's like a 50%.
Okay. There's gotta be a reasonable explanation for this.
Okay, so this was the second thing I made. And this was one of my favorite gags to do, and it got a great reaction. So what I did, initially, these three boards, as you're gonna see, these three boards, they're canvases for like small paintings or whatever. Initially I was gonna use them to draw using Sharpie and whatnot, pictures for my sisters for Christmas. And that didn't end up happening, both because of me procrastinating, because I kept switching ideas for what I wanted to draw. And so I say I never used them. So when the time came around where I was like, hey, I'll do something to make fun of Brecht, these just, I remember having these, and I figured, hey, finally I have a reason to use them. So I actually drew on the back sides of them. I don't know where they are, but I initially drew them much crappier, and I drew them much less visible. And then I flipped them to the other side, and I wrote the stuff in thicker Sharpie, which created the gag that, So the first one is, in case you can't read it, it says an unreasonable explanation. The second one is going to say another unreasonable explanation. And then the third one says yet another unreasonable explanation. And then on the back of that, it says shocker. But also, there's the final wall sign. Yeah, so, initially, wow, that's a very Jim Carrey face right there. Initially I wasn't gonna, laugh while I was looking at them, but just the general disbelief and the slow mental breakdown that I was having, I think it worked very well, as I was doing it. It was kind of just improvised on the spot, and so I just kind of rolled with it, and I think it fit the character better than what it initially was. Same here, this was improvised too.
I'm in some sort of room. Okay. Hey, that's a start. That's a start. My God! Why do I feel so comfortable?
Hey, you can finally see the floor sign. It's right there, just so you know.
Talking to myself. Wait. There's just people.
Also, it was really weird. When I was doing this, I was like, okay, I'm gonna move behind the couch, and I did that during tech and everything too. But as I moved behind the couch, it was weird. I couldn't get myself to move in this situation. I was moving a lot more slowly than I intended to. I kept telling myself, okay, move. But I wasn't moving. I was aware that I wasn't moving, but I still wouldn't move. It was a very weird out-of-body moment in this, moment for me. I couldn't function normally. For some reason, something was making me very hesitant to do it, but I still ended up doing it, and it actually got praised more like this. I guess maybe I made it look more natural or something. Maybe it's instinct, I don't know, but I did that. Also, yeah, you can see me start to smile because I was looking at people and seeing their reactions and whatnot. It started to crack a smile, but I quickly tried to transition that into fear. But yeah, I did break character just a tad.
Sitting there. What? Are there some kind of alien race that abducted me? And fed me a drug to on my entire life and start talking to myself like I'm a mental patient. Hey, alien scum! I'm on to you! I know what you're doing. I know what's going on here. You want me to freak out until I get the name and location of the president so you can control his mind and make him give up the name and location of the...
Yeah, so this was the more apparent mistake. I mixed up my lines. And the thing is, I knew something like this was going to happen because I didn't actually rehearse my lines at all that day, leading up to this performance. I did it once, like 2 seconds before, and that was kind of fine. And then this one, which was, I messed up my lines. Now, I actually recovered from this very well. But in that moment, I was, like, doing it more and more, and you can see me start to stutter and whatnot, because in my brain, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this wrong. Not necessarily panic, but like, hurry up, figure something out, we gotta fix this. So, given the fact that I already started showing my mental breakdown in this thing as my character, it actually kind of helped because it gave a little bit of leeway, I think. And no one really commented on this, so I think I'm fine, really. I think I did it well. I think I covered from it. I mean, obviously, Michaela noticed it went up because they were part of my tech crew. They saw me, rehearse it. But this, I think I bounced back from this well. But yeah, this was a clear, obvious mistake. And yeah, it just took some modifying lines. Nothing I haven't done before.
Listen, you're not going to have all mankind at your command. You got that? Because when you fed me that drug that made me forget about my entire life, you made me forget everything about the president too. Boy, did you guys screw up!
Yeah, so the way that was initially supposed to go was, hey, alien scum, can you hear me? I'm on to you. I know what's going on here. You want me to freak out until I give up the name and location of the president so you can control his mind and have all of mankind at your command. Well, guess what? When you fed me that drug, you made me forget everything about the president too. Not so advanced now, Arya. Or no, it's boy, did you guys screw up. Not so advanced now, Arya. So, yeah, no. Again, it just took some tweaking of the lines. Something I did most famously, in Time of Your Life, along with Eyeless Arts, Jessica, and Bree, and whatnot. But yeah, no, this was just, it just, it had to happen, and I made it happen the best I could, and I tried, and I think it turned out well. I think without me telling you and without context, it definitely can look more natural. I think I handled that the best way I could, and no comments were made about it again. So I guess people thought it was part of the performance too, which is neat, or maybe people just forgot to comment on it. But hey, whatever. I was actually very nervous to do that, that little fist thing, because I was afraid that I was gagging the audience when I did that. Again, no comments made on it, so I guess I wasn't. But anyway, and it got a few laughs, so I was happy about that.
Oh yeah, you're in some deep crap now. Oh, Emperor Farcatrox ain't gonna be happy about that, is he?
Also, I wasn't supposed to say Farcatrox, but that's what I taught myself to say, because the actual name in the script was really long and really difficult to learn, and I didn't want to learn it. just literally simple like that. I didn't feel like learning it. But here, I'll put it up on the screen. This was the name. Not even joking. You can go look up the script. Actually, I'll put a link to the script so you can check it out for yourself. But that was the script, and that was it. And I didn't feel like learning that word, so I didn't.
Maybe I jumped the gun a little there. Maybe they'll respond if I ask them what's going on.
Yes, that was also one of my biggest fears, was struggling to put the thing back in the thing or taking it out of the thing, because that pocket was very difficult with me. And so my hand got kind of caught there. But this next part was kind of thought out. I never actually rehearsed it to anyone, but I always had the idea that when I called out the actual audience themselves as human beings, I would start off very calm and then go very, freaked out, because I feel like that would be the case. Anyway,
Hey, you. Yes, you. Yeah.
I'm also talking to Michaela here, so just so you know.
Where am I? What's going on? Stop staring. Answer my question. Why are you just watching me like that? You want me to do a trick or something?
Yeah, so this was again another thing I was afraid that would end up looking like I was gagging the audience. But at the same time, I think it really fit. I don't remember what I did during the tech performance. I know it wasn't this, but this is kind of what I thought I'd go with, was just doing some like abstract, no, I don't know if I should say abstract, but doing just some random thought up in the moment dance, which ended up resembling a lot of Pennywise for some reason, unintentionally, but which is cool. But yeah, that's just what I did, and I almost fell over doing it, which is maybe it would have been funny, maybe it wouldn't have been, but it didn't end up happening, which is great. And yeah, so obviously I definitely, you can tell I went into this knowing I was gonna make a fool of myself at some points, and I had no problem with that. Also, if you couldn't tell by now, not that I mentioned it at the start, but I was wondering if anyone would pick up on it before I said anything. Yeah, in terms of method acting, my method acting for this was watching Batman Forever and just studying Jim Carrey. I watched Jim Carrey and I studied his movements and I made sure to capture his energy and his physicality as best I could. And people in the audience even said like, "Oh yeah, I could tell where you got that." And so, yeah, Jim Carrey was a big, huge inspiration for this role. And if it was free, I would have watched the Truman Show. But unfortunately, I would have had to pay to watch the Truman Show, and I didn't think to watch that. Not that it would have helped, but I felt like the script was very much based off that.
You're watching me like you're a patron, an audience. Wait. I know what's going on here.
Yeah, okay, so here again, I apologize for, skipping one. Just I have a lot to talk about. Here again is an example of me forgetting my lines. No, I didn't necessarily forget my lines, and it doesn't look like I forgot my lines. I don't stutter or anything, because, again, I didn't catch it until I watched it back. But there were supposed to be lines in between this, in between wait and what I started saying here. It was supposed to be wait. These people, this room, those lights, that hairstyle. I know where I am. So these lines I'm saying now were supposed to be after that. But unfortunately, I didn't point out any of that. I completely forgot that part existed, despite knowing it very well. And so yeah, I missed a couple more lines, but that's whatever.
Oh, I know what's going on. Oh, I know where I am. Oh, one of my greatest fears is coming true. Oh God, I'm trapped in a monologue. No. This is a monologue, and I know down my mind that it is. It's only a matter of time. Once the actor says scene.
That was improvised on the spot too. The grabbing of the chest to recognize that I'm not in my own body anymore. That was improvised.
That's it for me. I may only have a few seconds left to live.
More mental breakdown.
Okay, calm down. I just have to convince the actor not to say the word scene. Yeah, I'm sure I'm being played by a decent guy. He'll understand. Alright. Hey, actor! Buddy, listen. Whatever you do, do not say the word scene. I'm begging you. If you do, it's all over for me. Is he even listening?
Yeah, so this one I caught right away, and it's not a major thing. I was just supposed to say, oh geez, is he even listening? I didn't say oh geez. Again, it's not very big, just something I knew right away that I had missed, but I kept going. And it's whatever. Like, again, it wasn't very big, so I didn't, go back and try to reincorporate it.
Hey. Buddy, you're a good guy, right? I mean, we're all on the same team here, you know? If you have any decency at all, you will not say that.
Also, yeah, I messed up that word. I don't know even what I said. I don't think I could replicate it, but I messed up the word decency. Just because I was so in the movement, I was so in the emotion of it all that I fucked that up. But, yeah, no, I was supposed to say decency. In case you're wondering, I just messed it up a little. I added an extra C somewhere, just so you know.
That word. I'm begging. I can feel myself fading away. Oh, okay. Oh, it's gonna happen any moment. Oh, he's breaking character. The scene's gonna end soon. Okay. Oh my God. Hey, buddy, listen. Think about what you're doing here, okay? You can't just bring someone to life only to blink them out of existence within the time span of a few minutes. It's not. Think about what kind of example you're setting for your peers.
I love that line delivery. I mean, it doesn't work with my character, and I got critiqued on that for, the obvious voice change. Which is just a me thing, But yeah, no, I really love that. And also, it is very interesting. The one time I did it with an audience that big is the one time I got the line right. Because every other time I'd mess up the wording on, think about what you're doing. You can't just bring someone to life only to blink them out of existence within the time span of a few minutes. That time, every time I rehearsed it, I messed it up in some way the first time around and then I'd get it the second time. I got it right on the money this time around, which was actually something very impressive that I didn't even recognize until just now watching it back. Which, it's something I feel very proud about because I was messing that up every time I rehearsed it anyway. But yeah, the voice change obviously wasn't intentional, but it was further emphasized during this performance, improvised to be more emphasized than what it initially was, and the voice change just kind of came naturally, which, is a fault of my own. I gotta work on that.
Oh God, oh no, oh please, please do not say.
Yeah, so now you get to see, that is the interesting thing about this performance, is that the ending mirrors the start. And sure, there wasn't a lot at the end, but both at the beginning and the end, you kind of see me wandering this thing as me and not as the character, showing what was really going on. So I'm gonna just quickly freeze frame it at a random part, a perfect frame to end off at. But yeah, just to give a rundown of a few more behind the scene things now that we've actually broken down the actual performance itself. So yeah, once again, as stated, this was, heavily influenced in terms of physicality and in terms of movement and delivery by Jim Carrey, studying his movements, studying how he did his thing, especially in Batman Forever, specifically because, one, I really want to watch Batman Forever anyway, because I don't remember that movie, and I hear it talked about a lot, and two, because apparently, from what I've heard, in that movie, Jim Carrey was just playing Jim Carrey, according to some people. So I figured, hey, if there's any movie to watch where I can see a lot of Jim Carrey, it would be that one. So I watched that one. And yeah, no, I was very stressed about getting labels and everything properly. Initially, I had a label on my pocket because it was flinging out all the time, and it was just always present. It said pocket on it. But I ended up taking that off because I felt like if I did that, it would become necessary for consistency reasons to label the shoes, pants, shirt, jacket, but the jacket already had costume on it, so it made a little bit of a contrivance. Not really a contrivance per se, but it just made things less easy to understand, I guess. I don't know what way to put it. You kind of get what I'm saying, hopefully. So I just ended up taking off the label that said pocket, and keeping the costume as kind of a representative of the whole thing. But yeah, no. So, God, what was I gonna talk about? Yeah, we did a lot of stuff for this. The weird thing was everyone like pointed out like, my consistent inconsistencies and whatnot, and the weird thing is for a lot of this it came very naturally. Like we did animal acting, that didn't help me too much. I ended up picking a animal based on the character I already knew how I was going to portray, instead of picking an animal to influence how I was going to portray the character. Because we did animal acting in preparation for monologues, I picked a mouse. But I picked a mouse because of this character and how jumpy he is, and how like, he is like looking around and then, very quick on his feet and all that. I picked the mouse based on the character rather than picking the mouse to influence how I play the character. So it's kind of like a reverse of what it was supposed to be. And yeah, I don't know. The weird thing for me with scripts, and I want to go more into this in its own video, but the weird thing for me with scripts is that I'm very good at finding a character I want to play through a script. Not every script is going to work for me, but if reading the script the first time around I can get an image of how I want to portray that character, it comes to me very easily, and then I kind of stick with that. It was the same thing with the song log, like Children of the Machine, and I kind of explained it there too. When I was picking a song, eventually reading, the lyrics to Children of the Machine and coming up with the priest, I envisioned that character so quickly, as I was reading the lyrics, that it made it easy to do everything in the performance, because, I snapped to it. And that's both a good and a bad thing, because for, like, performances where I don't get to pick the script, it makes it harder to develop a character because it's not, natural. If I have control over the script and whatnot, everything about the performance comes after the character. The character is the basis. For instance, this character was the basis. Obviously, reading the script, this guy wasn't aware of anything that's going on. So I made him casual, and then I made the things around him resembling something like The Truman Show that I haven't even watched, where the reality is not what it seems, And through that, through trying to paint a picture that this guy was in a reality that wasn't real, I managed to, find a way to incorporate Brecht, and thus make fun of Brecht. I managed to make it more humorous than it already was. I managed to incorporate the mirror. That was another thing. When I was planning out how I was going to do the performance, I really wanted to incorporate the mirror somehow, because I've seen, throughout the years in grade 10, Bree used it in grade 11, this, now grade 13, or I guess university student, whatever, Maddie, she used the mirror. And I've seen, people every now and then use the mirror. And for a lot of people, it's a struggle, people try and find ways to use it, how does it work, and whatnot. And I thought it would be really neat, using something that a lot of people struggle with. And it came so easily to me. That's the thing, if this guy, at the end of the script, is going to talk to himself, talk to me as the actor, then that's the perfect way to incorporate this. So I thought it was neat, even just having that, something that people struggle to fit in their performance, something that is awkward to use in a performance, and using it so seamlessly. Everything just came around the character. And that, I think, is the fundamental thing that makes everything I do so well. Like the consistent inconsistencies. People gave me credit for, rubbing my eyes a bunch and whatnot. All that was like thought up so fast, I barely even thought of it like that. Like people were like, "Oh, you kept the emotion the whole time or not." It's like, I didn't focus on it. I didn't even look at it that way. People are picking apart my performance, giving me critiques and whatnot, giving me compliments, and looking at it, and admiring me as if I did it so artistically and so thoroughly. when I didn't do half the process work that we were supposed to do. I didn't print off a script. I didn't annotate it. You know, I didn't like underline what words I was going to emphasize and all that. I didn't, you know, I didn't do any more animal acting than what we had to do, where I just did the mouse that one time. Not that you can see it, but still. I didn't do the Laban work. I didn't do most of it. I'm doing most of it now after the fact. And that's the crazy thing, because most of this just comes to me. And maybe you call that a gift, maybe you call that a curse. It's kind of a double-edged sword. But it just comes to me. And now we're here. And yeah, so I think this is very evident of that. This is probably one of my favorite sets just because of how unique it is, and a lot of people like the performance. It was very well received, unlike King Lear and whatnot. I'm actually very interested. I haven't asked them yet. I'm actually very interested though to see who says what in regards to my performance. I think it's going to be neat to see people's reaction in terms of whether they think this is better than Connor, because as of right now, Connor stands to be one of my best performances. Some people actually coming up to me and saying like it was concerning how, you know, real that felt, how honest to God scary it was to see me that into that character. But you know, it'll be interesting to see, because this one was very well received. Like I said, the drama teacher said this was probably her favorite performance of mine. You know, other people really liked it. There was a lot of laughs. It was humorous. People enjoyed it for many different reasons, and I'm very happy about that. I think this one I put a lot more thought into. I think I thought about it in a very dynamic way that I didn't initially think of before. With other monologues, you know, this one was just. I mean, King Lear was kind of like a messy product of the time we were in. I think if it was done in a different time, like not in COVID times, it would have been better. But this is just, yeah, it's just the world we live in. Suffice to say, that's it for me on this one. I don't want to go too more in depth. I want to kind of give like an overall, like in-depth look at my acting style and whatnot once I'm done doing performances. In this state, and also my phone's at 10% as of right now. So yeah, no, I hope you guys found this interesting. If you're even still watching this point, I'll put different time codes so you can understand the different sections of the performance. But yeah, no. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you like this, and yeah, no, I personally, you could tell I was having fun with this. I definitely had fun with this. The comments and everything. Well, now I'm just repeating myself, but yeah, no, it was interesting. So thank everyone so much for watching. I'm Ezra, so like, comment, subscribe for more of this, more gaming and vlogs, what else comes. I will see you all very, very soon. Later.